Good evening. Welcome in. It's SEC After Dark. You already know what time it is. Joining me we got a great show lined up for you. It's Thanksgiving. I was training my belly today. I will do the same tomorrow night, getting my belly ready for the influx of food that's about to happen. The destruction and carnage at the table on Thanksgiving. It might be borderline illegal. What I'm about to do is some turkey and dressing. So, joining me to deliver this show, as always, my man Steve Willis, Jeb Beecham, and Jake Thomas. Cheers, fellas.
Cheers.
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 See Cody in the chat already. He mentioned 56K Corey.
Yeah, it's Fiber Burton now.
Fiber Burton.
Fiber Burton.
Hashtag Fiber Burton.
Hashtag Fiber Burton. And I'm not talking about Metamucil either. You slappy. All right. As you see on the bottom, we got a lot of stuff on the bottom. Our social media stuff. Follow us on Twitch, Facebook, all that good stuff. We are echoing probably across 75 channels at this point. I'm not real sure, but
it's a bunch.
It's a bunch, and you can find us just about anywhere at this point. So if you don't like us, then you might as well just turn off the TV because we're everywhere.
Yeah.
No. And as you see from our rundown, he gone. We'll tell you who he is. Rivalry week and picks. We are SEC After Dark. As I remind you, chat is blazing. We are on the Y'all's Conference Network. It's going to be exciting. Get on board. Get on board. If you want to be if you want to be our presenting sponsor, just let us know. Hit us up. I got lots of ideas. So, who is he? He is Dan Mullen, and he gone. So, hashtag Fiber helps me poop. Helps him poop. I mean, those are facts. Those are facts. I can give you the play-by-play, Cody, if you want me to.
As you get older, Metamucil, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Metamucil, please sponsor us.
We're medical, medical after dark.
Med school after dark.
The fact that there hadn't been a Steve joke at this point is just amazing.
It's coming. We hadn't talked about the Revolutionary War yet, Steve, so you're good.
French and
we
Indian
we go way back on that one, Steve. These two don't even know.
Yeah, no idea.
A little background for you, Jake. Me and Steve used to be table neighbors at Rivals up here in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
Like I could reach out and punch him if I wanted to, and not really have to exert much effort. Probably did at some point. Who knows?
It was so bad that whenever he edited, he had a producer that stood over his shoulder and just watched every waking thing he did, and that person pissed me off because he was also standing over my shoulder and he had nothing to do with my job.
His ass was in your face and his junk was in mine. So,
what a picture!
It was very awkward.
like Eskimo brothers.
Jam.
Okay. All right, moving on.
Chris Childish.
We're bringing all the Rivals insider information back. Yeah, he lasted about a year and then moved to California, something like that.
Yeah, and then he moved to Chicago, I think, to go work for 120 or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing now. He's married with 2 kids, so happy for him, I guess, right?
Hey, there were doubts. That's all we're saying. Well, I mean, there were doubts.
There were doubts. Good for him. Judgment.
Yeah, no judgment.
No judgment.
There were doubts.
Yeah, there were doubts. I was wondering for a little while.
Could be a Coy.
Still could be. Anyway, well, back to Dan Mullen. He's probably looking for a good Metamucil commercial right now to just get a paycheck because he gone. University of Florida. Made the move earlier this week. When I say earlier this week, I mean yesterday. And quite frankly, we saw this coming, but a week earlier than I thought. But well-deserved because, like, all the stuff that we've been saying about Dan Mullen is absolutely true. And the dude just decided not to recruit. He lost the locker room. He lost the fan base, lost the media, lost the admin. And a lot of it's just because of his abrasive personality. And the final straw, and I love this is my favorite part of it. The final straw was losing to Missouri and having Eli Drinkowitz troll you.
Yes.
Nerd troll you.
Yes. That was
Yes.
awesome.
Star Wars
With
nerd
the
troll you.
lightsaber. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I would like to say, with Dan Mullen getting fired, and Texas A&M lost, and Liberty lost, and Tulane lost, if Mississippi State loses the Egg Bowl, this will officially be the year of reckoning between Ole Miss and all the people involved in the 2017 scandal and probation that went on.
Huh.
It'll be a clean sweep if they take care of Mississippi State in a couple of days.
Well, I'll be rooting for that anyway. Even though I like Mike Leach, Starkganistan, as Cody said last night on Beast of the East. We revived Beast of the East, by the way. So who replaces him, right? I'm hearing Billy Napier. Is that a good fit?
I think so. I'm hearing a lot of that name as well. People are obviously throwing in Lane Kiffin's name. I honestly believe that people just throw Lane Kiffin's name in order to amplify their piece. He has this weird social media presence and everything that goes on, and just by mentioning your story is going to be bigger than it was. So he's always going to come in second. But Billy Napier, I think, is the favorite. It's so much so that LSU is like having second guesses of their guy, and there's rumors that they're swinging for the fences on that side for Lincoln Riley, but it's probably going to be somebody. I mean, maybe a Mark Stoops, maybe a Bill O'Brien, somewhere in that. I think that's the LSU one. Yeah,
please let that happen. I mean, Mark Stoops would be a great hire, I think, but and he definitely would win there. But I think Kentucky should do everything they can to fight to keep Mark Stoops. But please let them swing for Lincoln Riley, miss, and end up with Bill O'Brien. That would be hilarious.
Yeah,
I would love that.
I would be in favor of that as well.
Yes. I think when you look at what they do, I just don't understand. Like, do you not have a list of guys that, like, you go from Lincoln Riley all the way down to Bill O'Brien? Like, where's Bill O'Brien getting all this credit from?
I think Dave Aranda also is in that LSU job, and he might be the person that gets it, honestly.
He's got. I mean, if he gets it, that's a great hire. He's got to be, but like, no one's talking about him.
Yeah. Just because he's not exciting. He's not going to be a splash hire. And I tell people all the time, it doesn't matter if a coach is a splash hire. It needs to be the right hire. It doesn't matter. Nick Saban will never be a splash hire. Through Michigan State, through LSU, through the Miami Dolphins, through Alabama, he was not a splash hire, but he was the right hire.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So yeah, I don't understand it, but not every big name works out at their next stop. It's Dave Aranda is a really good fit at Baylor. Would he be a good fit at LSU? He was as a coordinator. I think between him and Joe Brady, those were the two that really had the team. Orgeron was just kind of there.
He was a mascot.
I think Aranda, if you really think about it, I think Aranda was the glue.
He really was, and that defense was the strength of that team. Even though they had Joe Burrow and all those guys offensively, it was the defensive strength that were the leaders of that team. They let the offense kind of go out and do what they want to do, but the defense made sure things got locked down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think he's got to be the hire. I think Sonny Dykes is going to go over to TCU. Which is interesting. I think Texas Tech screwed up by not getting Sonny Dykes or not going after him hard.
Rhett Lashley to SMU.
Yeah, Rhett Lashley go to SMU. You got to think. I mean, I'm going to say Hugh Freeze to Miami.
If that comes open, there's a chance it doesn't come open this year. It might be a next year thing.
Way. Unless they can't literally afford to fire Manny Diaz. The AD got canned. There's no way.
The problem is right now with LSU, USC, and Florida being open, the price of poker is up so high that Miami is going to get a middling coach because they can't pay. If they wait until next year, maybe maybe Miami's the top job. Maybe Miami's in the top 2 instead of down there in the middle.
You can't play that game. You can't. I mean, because it's always
I was
always
gonna say,
going to
every
be
year
that way.
somebody comes up. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
you just never know.
It's every year. So I mean, next year Oklahoma might come open because Lincoln Riley finally goes somewhere.
Hell, Nick
Lincoln
Saban
Riley
might decide to
finally goes the
retire.
NFL. Nick Saban will retire.
In 2028, Jeff.
All right.
He's already said he's going to coach until 2028 potentially.
Jesus.
That's terrible.
You know, like Brian Harson's going to go to Washington. I mean, you can't see that. That's why Miami sucks right now because they think like that. I mean, you got enough alum that you got enough famous rich alum that if they want the right coach, they can go get the right coach.
But they can only pay about $6.5 million, $7 million tops.
If they really wanted to, they
could. But they haven't been spending money on athletics.
But do you think Michigan State just all of a sudden?
That's 2 boosters at Michigan State.
Well, that's my point. 2 boosters at Miami could do the same thing. You get The Rock and Warren Sapp together, or you get any one of those former NFL guys together, and they could throw together $10 million, no problem.
The Rock himself can throw $10 million by himself, no problem.
Yeah, the Rock would be like, oh yeah, it's in my sock.
Yeah,
hang on.
But The Rock's about to start wasting money in the XFL, and it is going to be a money waste for a couple of years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah. And Kiffin's another big name for that Miami job. I got to ask Steve, is Ole Miss a big enough job to keep Kiffin there? And I don't mean that offensively because Tennessee wasn't. So I'm curious.
The Ole Miss is going to be able to pay close to $9 million comfortably,
You think they'll pay that
which is going to put them in the top 10 in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to pay to keep Kiffin. If they lose Kiffin, he's leaving for reasons other than money.
Yeah.
You think he'll be able to attract enough talent there and build that into the number 1 team, which is what I'm sure his goal.
Okay, before we get started, since we're going with the he gone thing, my thing is since the 90s, we've been told that Florida is a top 5 job in the country. Right? Okay. Since the 90s, that's just assumed. That's what happened. They start throwing out stuff like that. 2 coaches, Steve Spurrier and Urban Meyer, both of which did it elsewhere, are the only 2 coaches in the last 50 years to consistently win and to get it done. Everybody else has failed. Tell me how that is a top 5 job in the country, or do they think it should be a top 5 job in the country, or that Spurrier made it a top 5 job in the country? What is going on there? Because LSU
made it that way.
Yes.
LSU is by far and away the better job of the 2.
Yeah.
Because 3 separate coaches, one of which is lucky to be able to tie his shoe, won a national championship at LSU.
He probably ripped his shoes off.
Yeah.
Well, you're right. Urban Meyer proved he could do it anywhere. So
yeah,
he did it at Utah. He did it at Ohio State.
He ain't gonna
Spurrier
do
won
it
a conference championship at Duke.
Yeah.
Spurrier is a alien. I think I'm convinced. Yeah, I mean Florida. I mean, you think they're right in the heart of Florida, but if you look at Gainesville, it's like in the middle of just shit.
Yeah.
Pardon my French. It's
right
just in the middle of. Yeah.
It's right next to that rest area that has signs posted that says "Beware of poisonous snakes." Just posted in the parking lot, and it's like, what the hell is this?
Like,
get me out of here.
Tallahassee's 45 minutes from the beach, or not even that. It's probably 20 minutes down the road. It's in the capital city. A lot to do in Tallahassee. Miami is Miami. We know what Miami is, right? Instantly, those 2 just by location are better jobs than Florida. You know,
Orlando's a better, not necessarily a better job, but plenty of things to do. USF is in Tampa. Tampa is awesome.
Yeah,
Tampa is amazing.
Then you have FAU and FIU. If you're like a young coordinator looking for their first head coaching job, I mean, to get a head coaching job at FIU, which is right in the freaking middle of Miami, is outstanding. So, I mean, the University of Florida is in a horrible spot.
And were they a good school before Spurrier? I mean, were they a top 5 coaching position?
No, they were good, not great, but they were good when Spurrier was a player. Then they sucked for a long time, and then he came back as a coach, and they dominated because Spurrier's an alien.
And Spurrier decided he was going to throw the ball around whenever the whole SEC was 3 yards in a cloud of dust. I mean, Lars Tate and the guys was controlling things at Georgia.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Well, not under Ray Goff. They weren't controlling anything.
Yeah, I just dropped a Lars Tate reference.
There you go. You could have went with any other. You could have went with Rodney Hampton, Garrison Hurst, Lars Tate. I love it. Well done. That's why you're my favorite, Steve. That's why I'm here. So, but you look at LSU. LSU is what, an hour from New Orleans. You have Texas to your west. You have all the southeastern states to your east. Arkansas is not a bad state either, and your own state is packed full of players. So it's
nobody stealing them from you there. Yeah.
It's a fertile recruiting ground. You're the only show in town. You're right there, an hour from New Orleans. You're actually on. You got water, and you got a body of water near you. So I'm sure there's things to do in Baton Rouge. You got a passionate fan base. It's a good job. I wish the administration was a little bit better. I wish there wasn't so many problems there, university level problems. I don't like that, but you can win there. You can absolutely win there. So to me, it's a way better job. And James Franklin ain't going anywhere. He just signed a 10-year extension for a boatload of money. So.
That tells me USC said no.
Exactly.
I missed that.
I did too.
Yeah, it just happened today. Breaking news. Nah. I just spoke. I just got off the phone with James Franklin. Him and I are boys, Just
don't have your sources, man.
Just boys.
Yeah, it's just
Cody asked who wants James Franklin? Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt desperately wants James Franklin.
Vanderbilt probably wants Dan Mullen too. To be honest about that. But so where does Dan Mullen land? What's next for him? Does he go to SMU?
For a while.
Virginia Tech?
That'd be pretty good.
Yeah, it would be.
That would kind of mirror what he had at Mississippi State.
Would be interesting. He'd be a lot better than Justin Fuente, I'll tell you that much.
I don't think he's going to the NFL. I think that ship has sailed.
He'll go as a senior offensive assistant for the New York Giants. Because Freddie Kitchens is about to get Freddie Kitchens is going to get canned. So,
I think anybody who goes to the Giants as any kind of coordinator or coach is going to get canned within a couple of years because they're just awful right now.
Dreadful. Yeah, they're basically basically it's like the Tennessee coaching graveyard. You got Derek Dooley and Jeremy Pruitt as senior assistants. You didn't
say earmuffs. You didn't say earmuffs.
Earmuffs.
Come on, don't do that to Jeff.
So
you can't talk about Derek Dooley just willy-nilly.
Don't bring up Dooley.
I know, right? PTSD, man. Orange pants. Okay, so Cody asked me a question. What has he done other than the Vandy turnaround? That's a great question. Not
what else
really
do you
anything.
When anybody could turn Vandy into a winner.
Yeah. When Trace McSorley was at Penn State, they were legit.
He got Saquon Barkley drafted number 2 overall, I guess. That Penn State team was legit. Got them. They didn't win that Rose Bowl, did they? Against USC.
Yeah. I don't want to get all Big Ten after dark here, but James Franklin's biggest mistake that he made was giving up the offense and just kind of being a CEO head coach, because what he did at Vanderbilt was very effective and actually very good. It was that Ralph Friedgen stuff from Georgia Tech from way back in the day. And that in the SEC, it just worked, and it didn't necessarily need the best talent. It just schemed open, and there was a while when he was thought of as the heir apparent to Bill Snyder at K-State, because there are Kansas State ties there.
Yeah, there are. And we thought he was going to be the same at Maryland, but now he grew up in Pennsylvania. He ends up at what he calls his dream job, signed a big extension there. I don't necessarily get it, but whatever. I'm not a Penn State fan, so I'm not really all that worried about it. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting with Virginia Tech, kind of see what the ripple effect is there. What's going to happen with Jeff Brom? Is he going to go anywhere? Is he going to land anywhere? Who does LSU get? That'll be interesting.
Florida.
Yep. It should be.
Yeah. You want to turn around Florida? Hire Jeff Brom.
Yes.
You want some fun and gun to return? Hire Jeff Brom.
Yeah, I mean, just watch what he did to Iowa and watch what he did to Michigan State, and look at Purdue's roster, and then get back to me.
Yeah.
Like that roster rivals Vandy's roster as far as talent goes. What about Dave Clawson?
Luke offense. I hear he's going after the Virginia Tech job.
That'd be interesting.
He got a year at Tennessee.
Yeah, all right, who loses coordinators in the SEC and where do they go? I think Dan Lanning's going somewhere. I'm not sure where, but he's going to go somewhere.
Maybe Troy.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
maybe.
Jeff Lebby's trying to get a head coaching job at a G5 in Texas because that's his goal is to get back to Texas. Maybe
Dan Lanning goes to SMU. Bill O'Brien will go somewhere just because. Yeah. Let's see who else. Todd Gritton. Wait, no, he's already gone. He's in the unemployment line.
Where he should be.
Mike Bobo's not going anywhere. Kendall Briles probably will stay. Barry Odom, that's a name to watch out for.
Barry Odom ought to have that job.
I also think Virginia Tech for him. It just fits.
That would be a great fit. So watch that name. He was a near candidate for a bunch of different people.
Yeah, Lane Kiffin's going to coach everywhere, and Virginia Tech's going to hire everybody, according to me.
Yeah.
Lane Kiffin's got at least 3 jobs. We know that.
Yeah.
He's got 3 jobs at the same time.
Yeah.
He can probably do it.
Because he's just good enough to pull that off.
Yeah.
On game day, he just has 3 monitors with headsets that he switches back and forth. He just calls it.
Mm-hmm.
First time ever. I mean, honestly, those are the coordinators I think will go places as move on as head coaches.
Actually,
Todd Monken might
Pete
go back to the league.
Golding to Troy. I think that could happen. Something like that.
That could very well happen. Jake's
please God.
That's for you, Jake. I got you back, man.
Thanks.
Pete Golding to Auburn.
Well, there's rumors that if Pete does end up going, whether it's by choice or by him just leaving, that we may make a run at Jeremy Pruitt again, a defense coordinator.
I mean, how many times you got to bark up that tree?
I know, but the Saban rehabilitation thing, he can now hire whoever he wants to.
Mm-hmm.
There's no stigma whatsoever for that. He can just go get whoever he wants. He got 2 NFL coaches, 2 NFL former head coaches on his staff this year.
We didn't say they were good coaches.
No. But if you get an NFL job, you're not bad. Now, Bill O'Brien has the personality of an encyclopedia, but he's not a bad coach.
No, he's an X's and O's guy. But other than that,
and in the NFL, he would trade off his best player for pennies, pretty much. So,
yeah,
the fact that he traded off DeAndre Hopkins.
I know.
God damn.
Oh, man,
for like a 5th round pick, I think it was. I mean,
and a running back who's I think
third string running back
every week.
Yeah.
So bad.
Inactive.
So bad.
It was.
Amazing.
Like to see the garbage they're starting at running back is hilarious.
But they did beat the Titans somehow.
Yeah,
so, unfortunately.
We're going to do a little NFL After Dark right now, but
Yeah.
somebody posted up the scores on Twitter of the Titans versus Jets and Titans versus Houston. It just says, would somebody explain this, please?
The Titans play to their competition. If they play a great team, they play great. If they play a bad team, they just don't show up. I don't understand it. I will never understand. I think that's the biggest complaint I have about Vrabel as a coach.
Yeah.
Is somehow he's done that to that team.
Sounds like Alabama. We get up for opponents we need to and don't for, not big ones.
By the way, this bet online thing that I have on the line, I just look at that all the time, and it is now my favorite little bottom corner thing.
Yeah, bet online's been outstanding.
I just want that money.
But the money moves at the beginning.
Yeah.
It's the money. Yeah, it has motion. And I was like, "Whoa, this is awesome!" And I'm just a graphics nerd, and I'm surprisingly proud of that, I guess. But yeah, but I'm getting on board with the Bet Online stuff because they have a big sponsorship with the Locked On company and all that. So I'm trying to get into a habit of going and getting our lines from BetOnline.ag, who does a good job of getting lines. And you can, I have a contact there where I can get a line made if one needs to get made. And
nice.
Yeah,
and it's Bet Online. It's where the game starts.
Yeah, and they do believe as well. So
I've done that read a million times.
Yeah.
Promo code believe.
Yeah, I'm pretty fired up about that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So yeah.
I had an orientation today with the Locked On people, and I have orientation again tomorrow. So,
how's your new dorm setup going to be?
I don't know. I do feel bad about the Palmcast because we are now at the point where the Palmcast has about 7 shows left until it dies. And actually, I'm probably going to be pretty sad about that, honestly.
Well, yeah, I mean, you grew that thing as a little seedling.
Nothing. Yeah, from nothing.
I mean,
I even invented the name.
It started as a picture of you in front of a fish tank and with Palmcast on it, and it's just an audio recording of you, and it really wasn't the best quality. And you're just like,
yeah. Do you know in 2020 I actually did this? That picture of me in front of the fish tank doing that was actually in the stadium during the 2020 Ole Miss stuff in the end zone, to where you could just walk by and see me standing by the fish tank doing that. There's a little bit of guerrilla advertising for the Palmcast. Yeah, I did do that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Oh, yeah. That is cool. But no, it was awesome about how you started and all that stuff. I mean, it's just to grow it into what you grew it into, man. It's it's well deserved that you pun intended, locked on to a great network and was able to start this and was able to sprout all this stuff. I mean, my believe in Georgia Dogs since we echo, it's gotten almost 200 something views probably across. Mm-hmm. I mean, I checked the y'all's conference feed and it was like at 70 at one point, and then I checked my feed and it was at like 70, and I checked a bunch of other stuff and it was so.
He said hell to me. Yeah, I remember doing that. Yeah. Hell be to me.
It starts now. The Palmcast starts now.
Wait.
Right now.
Right now.
Right
now.
And now. Click. All right, welcome, Steve. Here's Palmcast.
It was a lot of fun, but in 7 days, that's going to die. But at least I still retain a little bit of ownership of that. I might be doing the Locked On podcast and getting paid to do it. That's the only reason I'm doing that. But I still retain ownership of the Palmcast. So if something happens with Locked On, the Palmcast is coming right back.
So it's just going on the shelf.
Yeah, it's just going on the shelf.
You need to put something on your shelf with Palmcast.
I probably do. I wish I could have gotten that cutout. If I'd have gotten that cutout of me in front of the fish tank, I would put that up somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Awesome. So, hell yeah.
But
Anyway.
I will say this. I had no idea whenever we were doing boot camp, the offense, whenever it first started up, because that was the genesis, the seed of all of this was boot camp, the offense.
Yep.
And I had no idea SEC After Dark was coming around the corner or something like this, and Beast the East and all these other programs. So that has been a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, it has. I mean, just being able to take around the SEC and just kind of rebrand it.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got this going, so it's been outstanding, and just to be able to echo, that's been the most fascinating thing to me. Just being able to broadcast across different platforms.
Yeah, we're up over
do it.
Yeah, we're up over at least over 30 for this show tonight. And
that's awesome.
That's LSU people, Alabama people, Texas A&M people. And I tried to see if Chris Clark was on Restream. He was not. They used StreamYard. But I tried to sell that echoing thing to him a little bit earlier this week. So we're going to get there.
I'll talk to Dane and see if they use Restream over at UGAsports.com. See if they do that. Obviously, DGD. Florida gets a commit as soon as Mullen leaves. Oh, the irony.
That is great.
Yeah, Kirby.
A top 50 commit. Or top 250, yeah.
Kirby comes in and steals like 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Hilarious. So, yeah, that'll be fun. It'll be fun to see kind of over the next few weeks to see kind of where these coaches end up. Because, I mean, the carousel happens a lot faster. It spins a lot faster because of the early signing period. So, that's why you're seeing these moves happening very, very quickly. So, but Billy Napier seems to be the front runner there.
Yeah.
Rumors are that Lincoln Riley's the front runner at LSU. I don't believe it. So
I think it's Dave Aranda is going to be the guy that gets that
I think
job.
it's Dave Aranda. So to go Pac-12, ripple effect, what happens with USC? What happens with Washington? Does Brian Harsin become a candidate at Washington now? Does Kalani Sitake at BYU end up a candidate for either one of those jobs? He's done a tremendous. He's been tremendous. You know, does someone make a run at Jamie Chadwell at Coastal? Luke Fickell, is he a name? They're about to be a Big 12 team, so I doubt it. And they're about to be in the playoff, but so I doubt he would jump ship now at this point. And Cincinnati will be able to pay him boatloads of money in the near future, so he might just hang on. But
USC's biggest success. USC has been a 7-5, 8-4 program, except for 5 years in the early 2000s with Pete Carroll. That was with an NFL coach. Do they try to go back to that bend and find an NFL guy? Maybe Bill O'Brien is a USC fit going out there to the West Coast. It's weird. Although Steve Sarkisian this year is not doing him any favors.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sark is struggling, but there's a lot of culture issues at Texas that we didn't realize that's coming to the surface. So
wait, we didn't realize? Really?
Texas is back. You didn't know that?
Yeah. Texas has had cultural issues since I was born. Since Darrell K. Royal. They've had cultural issues. They think they should be a 11-1 team, and they're a 7-5 team, and they don't understand why they're a 7-5 team.
Because they think,
except for this year, they're 5-7.
Yeah, they're not 7-5 this year.
Yeah,
they think they could just waltz in and throw the Longhorn logo down and some Kittle sign, which is not the case. Not the case at
not anymore.
All. So Sark's got his work cut out for him if he wants to recruit and get some of those guys in. But he's got to compete now with Texas A&M. But maybe the SEC brand will help his recruiting. It's got to. But who knows?
Sark may not
be
here Sark may not be there by the time they come to the SEC because the Big 12 is going to make them pay the buyout or wait until 2023. And that feels like a year 3 firing and a new coach coming in. Lane Kiffin may be the new coach of Texas.
I was gonna say
when
Bill
Texas
O'Brien.
comes in the SEC.
I was gonna say Bill O'Brien.
Oh my gosh.
Bill O'Brien's going to be the next. The Houston Texans are going to go back after Bill O'Brien after they fired Dave Culley this year.
Also, Stacy, by the way, how much would football change and look different if Mac Brown would not have decided to run a zone read with a 180-pound, 190-pound quarterback against Alabama? And he didn't get hurt.
They probably still end up winning, but it's not a rout.
Yeah, it's no way near a rout. And the game is in the balance at that point. But whenever he went out, yeah, it became a one-sided affair.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, when Colt got hurt, that backup quarterback did better than I thought Colt, did starting of the game. So that come in.
That was a stupid zone read thing. And honestly, that was like a Hugh Freeze back then. Everybody thought you beat the Kirby Smart defense, the Nick Saban defense, by running the quarterback. That was the new it thing that was happening. I guess because of Johnny Manziel. Was that Johnny Manziel time? No, it was before Manziel.
That's before.
But yeah, there was about a 5-year period where everybody was like running the quarterback at the Alabama defense, and that didn't work either.
It was on the heels of Chris Alt doing his thing at Nevada with the pistol offense.
Mm-hmm.
That was starting to come into play in like 07, 08, 09. So you're starting to see a lot of teams kind of do that stuff.
Now, I just want to ask this. I saw this earlier in the chat, and it's going to come up again. Is Auburn's coach looking like he might jump in the first year? What's going on with Auburn?
There's a lot of rumors right now.
He's a West Coast guy. He's just
Mm-hmm.
it just doesn't seem like he's a. I mean, I was questioning it before, but I was like, okay, well, he had a little bit of success at Boise, so he hired some of the right guys around him for SEC play, but he just has not been a good fit for Auburn this year.
There's a lot of their fans who are afraid of his recruiting. They don't know if he can recruit at a high level, for them. So
also,
it's just not a good fit.
If he leaves and goes to Washington this year, it's a Lane Kiffin in Tennessee type situation.
Yeah.
If they do not get the next hire right and they hire a Derek Dooley, you're looking at 10, 50. Sorry about that, earmuffs. You're looking at 10 to 15 years of just struggling. It's like the Bluegrass Miracle last night. Yeah, it's the weirdest thing.
Hammered Vinny on that. We had to initiate him. That would be. I mean, I know that would make Jake feel good that Auburn is struggling in a downward spiral, but who would they get? Like their personnel set up for like really well. So there's no way they
honestly
land a big
Auburn
name.
needs to get a quarterback. Period.
Yes.
That's true.
That's what they need to get. They don't need a coach. They need a quarterback.
They need an offensive line too.
Here is what I find funny, and I posed this question, or I said this on Twitter the other day. It's funny that their coach that they had, the one that just left, Malzahn, he beat Saban 3 times, and they always had a 9-3, 10-2 top team, and they still get rid of him. Now they get this new guy, and he's barely going to win 6 games, this year. No, so.
I mean, you get what you reap what you sow.
Yeah, they should stay with Malzahn.
Listen, this is what I don't understand about Gus Malzahn, and this is going into the weeds a little bit.
He's on a downward spiral too.
Yeah, but they had a team. The best quarterback that Gus Malzahn had was Nick Marshall. Period. Cam Newton, I understand that happened one year, but the best quarterback for his system was Nick Marshall. Now, then after Nick Marshall, whenever you had the perfect quarterback for your system, he took an Auburn team to the national championship that had no business being there. Then you quit recruiting those type quarterbacks, or you do recruit them and you don't play them. Like Malik Willis at Liberty. He's an Auburn transfer. He would have been the perfect quarterback for a Gus Malzahn system. You look at the way he plays. But instead, Bo Nix is out there throwing the ball behind people, running around the pocket and doing whatever he does, complaining about officiating because he said with a straight face that officials are out to get Auburn. Even though 3 games in the past 2 seasons were handed to Auburn that they didn't deserve to win. I hope he. You know what they need to do? The SEC needs to be able to find players since they can get in NIL now, and he just needs to forfeit like 25-30% of his NIL things for that take, because that is the worst take I have ever heard.
Yeah. That is definitely not a Milo's cold sweet tea take.
No.
Presented by Milo's Sweet Tea. Drink Milo's. It's great.
Although, in his defense, that was a horrible call against Auburn. But still
You know how
stupid
many
thing to say in
they've
the
gotten?
press.
You know how many they've gotten?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I agree.
I
mean, they got against Arkansas, they got a pass interference call when the ball was 30 foot out of bounds.
Yeah.
I mean, it was basically in the stands, and they got a pass interference on it.
No, I don't think the refs are slanted at all. I just think they're not good.
No, I think the refs are incompetent. But when Ole Miss over there, that was one of the worst officiated game I've ever seen. And
Yes.
The refs don't favor anybody. They suck.
Yeah, it's just incompetence. I get that. But Auburn complaining about the benefits of their calls, they need to shut the hell up, honestly, when it comes to that. Because they've been playing with a golden horseshoe up their ass ever since the miracle at Jordan Hare, followed by a back-to-back week of the kick 6. I mean, there's enough karma that you guys are going to have to take. Y'all better get ready for it, because it's about to be a donkey show in Auburn.
Don't get me started on going back to officiating. Don't get me started on how pass interference is being called or what pass interference is.
Oh,
I don't even know.
Intentional grounding.
That's
I don't understand how they come up with that rule at this point. They throw it to somebody. If the receiver doesn't catch the ball, the quarterback was trying to throw it away. Yeah, he was. But there was a receiver standing that could have caught it. I saw a receiver intentionally let the ball go out of bounds because he'd lost a yard, and them get called for intentional grounding.
Roughing the passers.
Yeah.
Like,
or he just bump into the guy. Don't even take him down. Yeah, no. It's some ridiculous stuff calls.
Like that Auburn who was it on again? I can't remember. But the targeting where he jumped to block the pass. No. The targeting where the defensive lineman, it was against Mississippi State, where he jumped up to block the pass, and he ended up locking face mask with Bo Nix, and they called not Bo Nix, Will Rogers, and they called targeting. Like, the targeting rule is asinine. That's a college football thing, not necessarily an SEC thing. I think that needs to be fixed. I think you need to figure out pass interference. You need there's no uncatchable anymore.
And at some point, I need them to stop saying on reviews that the evidence has to be conclusive to overturn a call, because it does not at all. They will overturn calls all the time just for no real reason, when it's not even close to conclusive. Don't tell me that. It's not true.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Also, Stacy, by the way, if you think SEC officials are incompetent, just remember that the best officials from Conference USA and the Sun Belt come up to our league. So the bad officials for the Sun Belt and Conference USA, they're still there.
Or they get poached by the Pac-12.
Yeah.
Pac-12 refs are even worse.
Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible.
I think they just get random people off the street to come officiate Pac-12 games that don't know anything about football. They go to a Dungeons and Dragons convention and say, we need 8 refs. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, y'all come with me. Here, put
Am I going to be the head ref for sports ball?
Go holding on the squadron. The penalty will be enforced after the goal unit. Yeah, it's bad. They're like, it's cosplay.
think we kind of got off in the weeds here a little bit, but whatever.
You think?
Yeah.
It's fun. It's not as bad as our 30-minute diatribe into like Stan Torgerson and Larry Munson and John Ward last night, but
No, that was fun. What are you talking
Yeah.
about? Speak for yourself, Steve. That was fun.
it was like a 4-inch metal chair.
What about a 5-inch cushion? Well, I broke that. The stadium, well, it fell down.
There's going to be some property destroyed tonight.
They're going to really have to rebuild this thing. Man, is there going to be some property destroyed tonight?
Yeah, we do.
26 to 24. Dogs on top. We were gone.
That's the one thing I noticed. That Larry Munson, after watching that SEC video about the voices, is Larry Munson must have been fantastic to have a conversation with.
Oh, that dude could just rattle off stories like no one's business. He was kind of like the most interesting man in the world, but like a real person. It was kind of like, those commercials. They could have used Larry Munson instead.
It's probably so. We're not here an hour and 45 minutes tonight. Let's get to rivalry week.
Rivalry week, yes. You got to keep me on. You got to keep me on the rails here, Steve. My ADD is blazing this week. So rivalry week, huh? It's upon us. So where do we start? Let's start with the best rivalry, Georgia Tech. Wait, no.
Snooze fest.
Yeah, it can be a snooze fest. But no, in all reality, we'll go chronologically. Start with the Egg Bowl, Steve. You and I talked about this last night. What interested me about this game is, obviously the quarterback battle, Will Rogers versus Matt Corral. The weather conditions seem to be getting worse by the minute. I think there's going to be some freezing rain in that one. Let's see if it holds off or if it's not very strong. How does it affect Mississippi State and what they like to do, which is throw the ball 60 times a game? What does that do for their offense? Their defense is going to be tough against the run. So how does that affect what Ole Miss does? What is the X factors for each game? To me, it's got to be for Mississippi State. They've got to be good in the screen game. They've got to be good at hitting the intermediate passes over the middle when they're good when they're on, and they're hitting those. It's usually good. When they struggle with the screens, if there's backs that play those screens really really physical, they struggle, kind of like Tennessee. For Ole Miss, to me, it's you have to be multiple in your rushing attack. You have to hit jet sweeps. You have to be able to hit those double and triple option plays where you're either giving the jet or you're giving the inside zone or you're faking both and keeping it with Matt Corral. I think Matt Corral is going to have to be a bigger factor in the run game this week, which is fine. I don't think he's going to take a beating in that regard, because he can be a factor, and then Jaron Ely can be a factor, and then Snoop Connor can be a factor, and then whoever your jet guy is can be, is it who is the jet guy at these days?
Ja'Cour Pearson, also Dontario Drummond has been doing a bunch of jet sweep type stuff. But Adrian asked about which would be the bigger factor, Corral's legs or the Ole Miss D, and the answer to that is yes. That is equally important.
Yeah. I mean, I think Ole Miss's defense just, figuring out how to bend and not break, making sure that, Mississippi State gets their yards, but they don't do anything with them. It's kind of like what the Braves did in Game 5 of the World Series, where they got 1 million hits, but they only scored 2 runs. It's got to be something on those in that regard, if you want to have success. So the defense has got to make Mississippi State work. 10, 12 play drives. They operate in short intermediate passing, but it's usually you throw a 5-yard pass with enough space, and that guy can run for 12, 15 yards, and you chew up yards. So you got 7, 8 play drives instead of 10, 12 play drives. That makes it doesn't seem like it would be a huge difference of 4 plays or even 2 plays, but it makes all the difference in the world because it's that much more you got to get.
Yeah, and Ole Miss needs to tackle well on the outside, especially on the swing passes to the running backs, because they are the number 2 and number 3 receivers on that team. They need to tackle well, and I expect Ole Miss to do a little bit of combo stuff with man coverage on the back, out of the backfield, but zone behind them.
Exactly. So, for that's got to happen. But it's going to be an exciting game nonetheless. I mean, you look at the Egg Bowl in a lot of years, Steve, no offense, but it's been kind of irrelevant because both teams have been in the tank. Now that Ole Miss is really good, now that Mississippi State is playing much, much better, they were ranked at one point. This game is interesting. Now, does it have major implications? No, because Alabama's already clinched the West. So I think it has major implications for Ole Miss because if they win, they might
have
be
a shot at the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah,
if they win, they are in an Access Bowl. If they win, they might be in the Sugar Bowl if Alabama can make the playoff.
Mm-hmm. Which I know Jake would love that. I would love to see Georgia win and just get some fresh opponents and beat the shit out of Ohio State. But
and everybody thinks about weird stuff when it comes to the Egg Bowl. This is this year's weird stuff. Ole Miss's kicker, Caden Costa, it's rumored that he has to miss the game because of PEDs.
You got you cheaters. You got the kickers juicing.
And he can't get it to the end zone. He can't get it to the end zone.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to hop their leg this time, right, Steven?
What's that?
Nobody's going to hop their leg in this game like they did a couple years ago.
It is potential. They did it in 2017. They did it in 2019. There's a potential that it's going to happen in 2021. Of course, the last time they happened, we got Mike Leach and Lane Kiffin out of it. So maybe if he does it again, they'll go away. I don't know.
They'll go away and you'll get Harbaugh and.
Oh, you shut your mouth.
You'll get Dan Mullen to come to Ole Miss. No.
It's like Butch Jones and Derek Dooley coaching the Mississippi schools. It's like, no, this is a bad dream. Sorry about that. I did it again, Jeff. Maybe it's that window.
No, you'll get Butch Jones and Jeff Collins. Which one do you want? They're both like Pez dispensers for slogans and cheesy stuff. And Cody, yeah, exactly. 404 Waffle House, dude. It not old. Okay, the way I talk, old and old sounds very, very similar. There was no duh sound, but a lot of times I'll say old Mississippi, just to
mess with me. Yeah.
Just to poke it. And apparently to poke at Cody too.
Yeah, so, seriously, Cody's got my back.
Old Mississippi, right? So, he's just gone for a year.
He called you out quick on that.
He did, man.
He's not even playing with you anymore.
No,
he's done.
Guns blazing. So, Georgia Tech, Cody.
Clean old-fashioned hate.
Well, it's going to be I think Georgia gets bored with this game. I think it'll be like 38-3. Just get out of there and enjoy enjoy leftovers from Thanksgiving. Yeah. Honestly, it's going to be you're going to see a heavy dose of Cook and Zamir. Stetson's not going to have a spectacular day, but just because they just don't do much through the air. The biggest thing that I'm seeing with Georgia is George Pickens is back at practice. He dressed out last week. He's running routes on air. I doubt we'll see him in this game. But I'm hearing there's possibilities of SEC championship appearances for George Pickens. Maybe to run him out there for a play or two and kind of see how his knee responds. But ultimately getting him ready for what could be the playoff.
Yeah.
Talk about an impact.
Yeah. He's the best receiver in the league when he's healthy, period.
Yeah.
It's not even particularly close. When he's in the game, it's a difference maker. It's also why, in my opinion, JT should have been the guy all along, because if you're going to play a playoff with George Pickens, you want JT in the game to go with that, because
Yeah, 'cause
I'm a Team JT guy. Sorry.
JT can't overthrow George Pickens. Stetson Bennett can't overthrow anybody. Let's get Joe Milton in here while we're at it. So yeah, I mean, this is not many storylines from this game, but Louisville, Kentucky is going to be interesting. LSU, A&M, Iron Bowl. Jake, let's go there. Iron Bowl. What with Auburn just kind of limping into this thing, is it a rout at this point? Is it close because of most of your other important games have been close and you're not really playing for much? You're just kind of playing not to get knocked out of the playoffs at this point.
Well, if we have a big offensive day like we did against Arkansas, it could turn into a rout quick because it seems like that secondary is having problems, covering passes, and they're just struggling right now. And I thought that would be one of the strong points for Auburn this year was that defense. But where Rogers shredded them and had no running game, the difference is Alabama does have a running game. So, if it could turn into a rout, but it is a rivalry game. Auburn's going to be ready, and it is at Jordan Hare, so I'm sure some kind of voodoo is going to make its way in there, but it may be a little bit too late. But who knows? They struggled against South Carolina. TJ Finley didn't look that great, so they're kind of reeling right now. So let's just get in there, get out with a win, and get ready for Georgia.
Yeah, I think low key, just how they're limping in with what they've got, and defensively they're just struggling mightily. Mm-hmm. I think it's gonna be. There's gonna be no doubt. I mean, there's major distractions with Harsin. Hell, they might help him pack after that game. Who knows? But I think you got to look at it and say, okay, this defense has got to figure something out. They're not going to be able to figure out Jamison Williams. They're not going to be able to figure out Mechie. They're definitely not going to be able to stop the run game. I just think with the talent alone, it's going to be. I think it's going to be ugly personally.
Mm-hmm.
They are staring at the Birmingham Bowl. They're just flat staring down Legion Field. And with the loss to Alabama, it's going to happen, I think. Because the Birmingham Bowl wants to take Auburn because they can sell out the stadium. Mm-hmm. But the bad thing is that the 6-6 Auburn might sell 15,000 tickets for that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah.
And they may play Florida State.
Auburn with
I'd watch that.
Playing Florida State with Mike Bobo as the head coach or Derek Mason as the head coach.
Hey, couldn't hurt.
At least Derek Mason would get a bowl game. Oh.
Out too soon? Too soon. Does Vandy pose any threat to Tennessee?
No.
Covering or a threat overall?
Yes.
Yes.
I think Vandy poses a threat to Tennessee hitting that 31-point line.
Easily in the first half.
No, I think they could. But no, I actually was a little worried about Tennessee. I was a little afraid Georgia might have kind of not broken Hendon Hooker, but it kind of messed with him because he was just off a little bit last week. And then in this game coming in against South Alabama, he still looked like he was a little off, but whatever it was, he fixed it. So and, he routed him in there.
Vandy has covered the last two spreads.
Well, and it's a huge spread, so for Tennessee. But
it's 31 points, so 41-10 is a push. It doesn't cover.
They've covered the last two spread. Now I say that Tennessee has the capability of throwing a 62-piece on them,
and they've dropped 60 on what three or four teams now this season. I mean, they can do it.
They can do it. So that'll be interesting. Also, A&M LSU. Is there any intrigue there?
If Jimbo decides to get cute, LSU can keep that close. Only chance LSU has is a low-scoring game, like a 17-13 type game. If it gets into the 20s, A&M's going to win that fairly easily.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think A&M is just they are. LSU is always a tough place to play, no matter who the coach is, no matter how down they are. Eli Ricks is in the is in the transfer portal. Where does he end up at Georgia? By the way, that's another side note. But to me, yeah, Calzada is going to struggle a little bit because of the atmosphere. But I think ultimately that defensive line is going to be too good. They're just going to get after Nussmeier or, you know, Max
Nussmeier's
Johnson
not
or
playing.
whoever.
It's going to be Max Johnson because Nussmeier's decided that he's not burning his red shirt.
Yeah, whoever the quarterback is, they're going to get after him, and it's going to, you know, it could. I mean, I think with a 6.5 point spread, it's safe to pick Texas A&M there, but you know, ultimately, I think that's going to be an A&M game. It's going to be a fairly easy win. What's going to be an interesting game now, because of what South Carolina's been able to do, is that home game against Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
Clemson has the greatest of all time Scrabble board quarterbacks.
Man, not much has pissed me off more than Ukulele going down and getting hurt for a couple plays, and there's just no chance you can pronounce the guy who replaced him. He makes Ukulele just seem like a normal spelling guy. His name might as well have been John Smith.
That's funny.
Where they find these guys?
Yeah. It's like you're doing this on purpose.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
They're going to the Poly All-American Bowl. Getting their guys.
So, Corey, you think South Carolina has a chance against Clemson?
Yeah, they can make it interesting, but ultimately, no.
I think
I
they have a
Clemson's
chance.
defense.
They have
a
at a minimum a puncher's chance to win.
They have a puncher's chance. It's going to be tight for a little while, but I think the way that Clemson's defense responded, and this is going to sound really odd, and this is kind of like Twilight Zone-ish, but the way they responded to that explosive Wake Forest offense and just completely unraveled them gives me a little bit more hope that they can they'll actually be able to prop up their offense one more time and get, like, Clemson has shown that they showed last week that they have the ability to score if you give them a short field. So they're at least not going to squander those opportunities too many times. They squandered a few, but they're not going to squander them too many times. The key for South Carolina is take care of the football and make Clemson drive the field. If they can do that, this game will get really interesting.
Yeah.
And again, weird things happen in this game too.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of weird things.
Clemson finally looked presentable on offense last week against Wake Forest. So, you know, they put up a lot of points. So,
Wake's defense looked like a team that gave up 56 to Army.
Well, yeah, that's true too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Their defense is terrible. So that'll be an interesting, fun game. And then you have Florida State, which is for the Birmingham Bowl. This game is going to be a classic Florida State because they hate each other.
Have a 5-6 game, both of them, where like a loser leaves town match in this game, and it'd be for like the Birmingham Bowl, like just a crazy small bowl. And to see these two teams fight for it, because Florida State, whether you know it or not, is going to try to finish the season 6-2. And they have the better team. They have the momentum going into this game. So I kind of like the Seminoles in this one.
Oddly enough, Mike Norvell is doing a really good job.
Oh, from the way their season started, yeah, they have to be pretty happy with the end of it there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It started off horrible.
And they gave Clemson a good fight. I mean, they had a chance to win that game against Clemson too. So
yeah, they did.
Florida State's. I'm not saying they're getting there or they're back. I'm not going to say anything like that. But I think they're about to be respectable again for the first time since before Willie Taggart.
Yeah, they're on their way up. I think if they follow this trend, which you never know this day and age, if they follow this trend, they'll be back towards the top of the ACC in 3 years. You know, I think they just got to give Mike Norvell a shot. And I think some of the Willie Taggart layovers, once they kind of finally process them on out, we'll actually see what Norvell is able to do, and you'll see some of that reflected by the teams that he coached at Memphis. They'll start to look like that a little bit.
Talking about Willie
Except,
Taggart, when he got hired for Florida State, that just seemed like an odd hire to begin with. Because I think he only won like 7 games that year at Oregon, and then they hired him. It's just kind of an odd hire, I thought. So
it was supposed to be a splash hire from a splash university. Oregon, the Nike school. Yeah, I can follow the logic. I still wouldn't have done it because he went 7-5 at Oregon.
Yeah,
but I get it. I get it. So that'll be so that was interesting, and that experiment ended real quick. So,
yeah.
but Mike Norvell seems to be on the right track there. So,
Mm-hmm.
what's next on our list?
He's on his at his level at FAU. He's where he needs to be.
Yeah, and he's doing fine down there, and I'm
Yep.
happy for him. Steve, what's next?
I think picks, buddy. Is it
Get
time
the
for
picks.
picks?
What is that?
Picks.
Did you say
Picks.
picks? There we go.
Picks.
See, we can't do picks until Steve does the picks.
Picks.
So, picks. All right. Well, we talked about most of these games already. Cody, be sure to drop your picks in the chat as well. Old Mississippi. I love it now. You can't make fun of me and tell me that annoys you because
This is your fault, Cody. This is your fault.
Yep. You reap what you sow, Cody. You reap what you sow. Anyway, Ole Miss travels to Stark Vegas, or Stark Ganistan, as Cody says, to take on Mississippi State. This game is basically a pick 'em at -1.5. Interesting. I kind of alluded to what my pick was going to be. I'm going with the Rebels here. I think Matt Corral's going to have a huge day. I think this defense is going to have a big day getting after Will Rogers, pinning their ears back. If Ole Miss can tackle well in space, which they've shown they've done a better job of, this game should go in favor of the Rebels, and it's a small spread, so I have no problem going with it. But Ole Miss is the underdog, so all they got to do is win. Give me the Rebs.
Ole Miss has the better team as far as talent-wise. I think they're going to be able to win the game. Offense, defense, everything's going to be set up, and the weather is not going to help out Mississippi State. That's an advantage Ole Miss as well.
Yeah, I agree. I like the way Mike Leach's system has finally started to hit its stride. They look. I love Mississippi State and the way they're playing right now, but Ole Miss is just like you said, the all-around better team, and I just don't think that Mississippi State's going to be able to do enough to beat them this week.
Yeah, I'm happy that Mississippi State's finally come around. They've looked better the last couple of weeks, but if there is a threat of freezing rain, and Mississippi State has 0 run game and they can't pass, it could get ugly. So I'm taking the Rebels.
All right, so that's a clean sweep right there. Missouri travels to Fayetteville to take on Arkansas. Arkansas is 14.5-point favorites. This is that's a difficult spread for me. Luke Drinkowitz Skywalker comes in to take on Boss Hog. I had room. Is his lightsaber enough? I don't think so. I think Arkansas covers this one pretty easily. I really like the way they're playing. I really like that last week against Bama, they got punched in the mouth early. They came back. They made it a game. They made it interesting. They played extremely physical brand of football. Kendall Briles has done a tremendous job with KJ Jefferson and his development. Like normally, I think if this was KJ, well, obviously KJ did this earlier in the year in a rough environment in Athens and completely folded like a cheap suit. Did not fold against Bama. I think Arkansas really just ran out of time. But that game was turning into a classic. Bama had to hang on for that one and earn every inch of that. And that's not a knock on Bama. That's more of an attaboy towards the Razorbacks. So give me Arkansas -14.5.
Yeah, I'm taking Arkansas as well. And by the way, just talking about that Arkansas-Alabama game, that Will Anderson hit on the onside kick, that's going to go down in history. I've never seen somebody just ragdoll somebody like that.
And knock down the assistant coach too.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 for 1.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying it was dirty.
Nah, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
None. I'm taking Arkansas too.
My immediate thought was, "Ooh, that
Yeah.
hurts." my immediate thought was not, "Ugh, that's dirty." I would not have been, even if that was a Georgia player, I would not have been pissed at that. I'd have been pissed.
I don't think I'd have
the
been
Georgia
mad
guy
at
got clobbered, but not because it was dirty, just because hey, you can't get clobbered.
And if you look at it, what happened, and try and play it out, the way that ball bounced, if Will Anderson does not do that, Trayvon Burks is right there to catch that onside kick.
Yeah.
So
and that was Will Anderson's job, was to stop Traylon Burks from getting that ball. So that's what he did.
Hashtag nerd boy. I love that. I love that. Cody, you're awesome. Don't change ever. Hitting is football. Yes, it is. So I guess we're all taking. It looks like it's a clean sweep here. All right, another clean sweep. Won't even get into it. We just got into it. Georgia minus 35 at Georgia Tech. Huge spread, but it doesn't matter. I think Georgia can name their score. I think Jordan Davis might score another touchdown. Who knows? They might throw the ball to Jalen Carter this week. I don't know. Just to add some wrinkles for Bama to prepare for in that goal line package. Georgia's going to roll in Sanford Stadium South.
Yeah.
All right.
Nerds.
FSU.
Nerds.
We do have a little – well, this might be unanimous too, just because I think we all hate Florida. But Florida State at Florida in the Swamp. Florida's 3-point favorites. I think we all like FSU. To me, I think their needle's trending up. Jordan Travis is playing some really good football right now. They're just seeming like they're gelling a little bit. Their offensive line's playing a little bit better. They're playing a little bit more physical. They're playing a little bit better on the back end against some of these throwing teams like Clemson tries to do, and UNC and those teams. They've played better against that. They play more physical. They just seem to be on a different level than they were at the beginning of the season, or really after the Notre Dame game. They went on a really, really big dip. But I think I like FSU not only to cover, but I like them to win this thing outright.
Yeah, me too. Florida State is a better team than Missouri, and Missouri won that game, and they deserve to win that game.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. State has all the momentum. Florida's just done.
Yeah.
And you can't blame them at this point.
No.
Yeah. Florida's not. They're not interested in the rest of the season. Florida State wins.
Yeah, it's a wrap for Florida. They're just searching for their new coach, and this game's a wrap. It doesn't even matter.
Florida players are going to be worried about the transfer portal.
Yeah.
AR-15, he's going to dance his way into the transfer portal. Iron Bowl, I think I already said my piece, but I don't think any of us are giving Auburn a chance, nor should we. It's Bama favored on the road by 20. Let's call it 20. It's going to get ugly. Jamison Williams is going to cover that one by himself probably. It's going to be ugly. Auburn fans, just wrap your mind around it. There's a lot of distractions. You have TJ Finley as your quarterback, who obviously is not ready. You have Mike Bobo, who's decided to go brain dead and abandon the run against South Carolina. That's not good. You have a defense that just completely crumbles in the second half. 2 straight weeks. All of that is a recipe for disaster. It might be tight in the first half because Jordan-Hare is a weird place.
Yeah.
But they end up covering. Like this happened with Georgia. It was a 3-point game at halftime, and then all of a sudden Georgia covers the same number of a spread.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to happen. Their defense, they don't do a good job of adjusting.
Cody, you mentioned that right there. If they take out Bryce Young, Alabama goes to the Sugar Bowl because they might lose to Auburn, and they're definitely losing the next week because without Bryce Young means more to his team than Matt Corral means to his.
Exactly. So there might be a little gooning going on. So be ready for that, Jake. Be ready.
I'm hoping Auburn will not play dirty. I have too much respect for Derek Mason. I just don't think that'll happen. I think it'll be played straight up.
Yeah.
I hope you're right.
Yeah.
Our next game seems to be unanimous, but I'm very, very, very tempted to pick Vandy in this. It's a big spread, but Tennessee can cover that. They can put up 31 before Vandy even blinks. Now, what Vandy needs to do is go back to the Star V logo instead of this stupid-ass baseball logo they go with on their helmet.
Yes.
They're trying to be the Vandy boys. They need to not do that. They just need to go back to the Star V and be done with it and just leave that alone because that's a cool logo. But I like the Vols. They're explosive. Their secondary is outstanding. Like when they played Georgia, a lot of the problems they caused for Stetson Bennett was because the secondary was locked down on the receivers. So I think you're going to see a couple of pick sixes. Mike Wright is starting this game, so they'll play. Hopefully Vandy will play better out of the gates. But look for Tennessee to cover this thing, if not right away. But they'll cover it for sure at some point.
It's mine. It's mine. I got it. It's mine.
I'm taking the Vols as well. I think Tennessee's going to be able to cover this fairly easily. I think Vanderbilt's their last hurrah, so to speak, happened last week.
Yeah.
And yes, ban the Whistler. I actually know the son-in-law of the Whistler.
Oh wow!
So he gave me some stories about close calls they had with the whistling in Vanderbilt and how he just doesn't want to sit with them at baseball games and things like that. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy.
That is insane. All right, Cody, here's the game you've been waiting for. A&M at LSU. 6.5 point spread. I think we kind of alluded to our pick, so we're all on board with A&M. I just think that right now, just both LSU's just playing okay. They're playing solid. They're just playing okay, and they're young. They're playing a lot of freshmen. They've had a lot of injuries. They've had, outside of the obvious stuff that we've talked about for weeks. A&M is in a little bit better shape here. Isaiah Spiller, I think, is going to have a big day. Zach Calzada is going to bounce back a little bit, and I think they're going to cover this thing. They're going to win by 10 on the road.
Yeah,
everybody in agreement with that?
Yeah, with that, there's not going to be 50,000 people in that game. I don't think.
No.
Yeah, you're probably right. Clemson, South Carolina. Clemson minus 11.5. We're all picking Clemson, but I mean, can South Carolina cover this thing?
Yeah, puncher's chance for the Cox. If DJ Ukulele struggles a little bit and gets that crowd into it, that place is a hard place to play at night.
Mm-hmm. They get those towels waving, sandstorm blasting.
Yeah, it's a difficult place to play, and especially if you have a chance to get Clemson, that place is going to wake up and come alive because they've already hit 6. They're already there. This is an absolute free shot.
Now you want to talk about a loyal fan base? South Carolina, they packed that thing out.
Yeah,
they do.
Eastern State University.
Man.
Yeah, the Timberwolves.
The Timberwolves, man. Yes, I love it. That's a reference and a half right there. ESU.
Kane is able.
Kane is able. What was the Darnell Jefferson?
Yeah.
He's gonna have a big day for ESU.
Yeah, I think they're going to struggle with Alvin Mack on the shelf, but if they had him, the defense at ESU would be able to control the thing.
And they didn't even have to. They could have taken him out in that Iowa game.
Yeah,
they could have just taken him out.
They could have.
They didn't need him at that point. They
I
decided to
worry
be
about
cute and
Latimer. I
homeschool.
think there's a rumor that Latimer popped a little bit positive for PEDs, and he
Well, he's
may
been
miss
hanging
this
out with your
game.
damn kicker,
Yeah,
dumbass.
The chat is wild tonight.
It's off the chain. Plays hard for the Gippers final. Not so fast, babe.
Yeah.
Loyalty to the cock. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Alrighty then.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Loyal to the cock.
Blank a doodle do.
No judgment there. All right. Kentucky at Louisville. The grocery bag versus the pizza box. This game is actually played in the pizza box, Papa John Stadium. Louisville is 3-point favorites at home, which is interesting. To me, if Kentucky could not turn the ball over, they should cover this pretty easily, if not double it up. I think Kentucky's going to win by a touchdown because I don't think Louisville's ready for – I don't think Louisville matches up well with Kentucky this year. I mean, Louisville's pretty solid. They're bowling. But I just think that Kentucky, if Kentucky starts turning the ball over, then this pick's going to go right out the shitter. But I think Kentucky's going to win this one big.
I think the opposite. I think Louisville's going to win this game. I think this is going to be the Malik Cunningham show, and that defense is going to drop back and everything's going to go, and he's just going to cut through them and be the difference maker that we all know he can be. Brian Brown, by the way, is the defensive coordinator for Louisville. He's an Ole Miss guy. He's probably going to be the next defensive coordinator at Ole Miss whenever DJ Durkin moves on.
Which I just get weird vibes from DJ Durkin, so that would be okay with me. I don't. He's probably showing he's probably showing cheetahs mauling antelopes instead of game film, which he did at Maryland. So
hey, the scoring defense is half of what it was. They're in the top half of college football in scoring defense. So whatever he's showing, show some more. We like it.
It could be talent-wise. You could be even better than that.
Yeah,
I still think you're underachieving.
I tell you, I was looking at some stats about this game because, I haven't really watched much of Louisville. I know how Kentucky is, and I still want Kentucky. But Malik Cunningham, out of the 11 games that they have played, he's also been their 7 of those games. He's been their leading rusher as well. I mean, that kid can do it all. So if they allow him to do that, it could be a long night for Kentucky.
And extremely tough. That first game of the year in the first half, Ole Miss just completely physically dominated those guys. And Malik Cunningham found a way to score some points in the second half. They weren't going to come back, but yeah, he's a player. He's Lamar. He's a B- Lamar Jackson. That's what he is.
Yeah.
Steve, I heard that the extra motivation to get fans there is they get a free shakaroni pizza with a Louisville win.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
There's motivation for you.
Yeah.
Actually, sign me up for that. I'll wear a Louisville T-shirt.
I want a
Get
shakaroni. Papa John's will not deliver to where I live. I can get it delivered from anybody, but not Papa John's. And Papa John's is the second closest pizza place to my house. I don't know how that works.
Well, you're not missing anything, so
Yeah.
you're really not. Unless Papa John's wants to be a sponsor of the show, then it's the greatest thing of all time. So,
I did Papa John's pizza on air.
yeah, I got no shame. Jets, if you want to jump in though, that's my delivery service of choice.
Oh no. We fight against. Me and Jeb have a long history of fighting against Jets.
Steve's wife loves Jets.
Yeah,
Do tell.
Insane. She loves it. Her favorite pizza by a mile is Jets.
Are you not a
No,
deep dish guy?
No.
Detroit style, not my favorite. It's all right.
She like butter crust. Yeah.
Steve, are you a floppy fold it in half pizza? New York style?
Whenever I do Sbarro, yes.
Jeff.
I like the big, thin, fat, New York style pizza. Yeah, that's my favorite.
Now, my favorite, I love me some Chicago deep dish.
No. Oof.
It's a heart attack in a pan, but it is awesome. I just had a heart attack. Go Bears.
The Bears.
Out Bears.
The
All right.
Bears.
We got Bedlam, folks. Oklahoma at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State, 3.5-point favorites at Boone Pickens Stadium. Weirdly enough, is a really tough place to play, especially in the first game of the season when it's 1,000,000 degrees. Luckily for Oklahoma, it's not the first game of the season, and it's not 1,000,000 degrees outside. But nonetheless, this game's going to be tough for them. I just think, to me, obviously Oklahoma has the better roster, and Oklahoma's playing pretty well right now. I've called them soft. I stand by that, but they have played a little bit more physical since I called them out. So somebody from Oklahoma listens to our show or watches our show.
Definitely.
So, that's right. Yep.
Lincoln Riley, you're still soft. But Oklahoma State is on a mission. This game is going to be their freaking Super Bowl because it's home, it's Bedlam, it's for a chance at the upper hand in the Big 12 championship. I think Oklahoma State comes out with this. I think they cover. It's just probably the hardest game that I'll pick in this slate of games. But to me, I just think the Cowboys are going to get it done. I've been burned by them before. I've been burned by the mullet before. I'm going to ride with it again. A, because I guess I'm a glutton for punishment. B, because insanity is the definition of doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. I guess I'm just going to be insane here and pick Oklahoma State.
Okay. And like the last 20 games in this series, Oklahoma has like an 18-2 record. So I'm going to pick Oklahoma on this game just because they've proved over and over again that Oklahoma wins this game. So that was my justification for that one.
Cowboys
They're very, very, very due, but so is like the desert to have a rainy day.
This is the year. No. I mean, Kentucky beat Florida before the Atlantic did, so.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I think Oklahoma State adds to that too this year. This year, I just think they're playing way too well, and this is the matchup I was expecting. I thought Oklahoma would win last week just because I wanted them to get to this game where it was just basically for the Big 12, and I think Oklahoma State. I love the way they're playing. I think they're going to be the ones to take it this year.
What's going to end up happening is these two teams are going to play each other next week again.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'll require an Oklahoma victory, which I'll take that.
That'd be fun too. I mean,
because if Oklahoma loses this game, they play Baylor next week.
Mm-hmm.
So go Cowboys. I want to see somebody other than Oklahoma in the Big 12 championship.
Yep. David Renn his last game.
You will by 2023.
Yeah.
It'll be K-State. It'll be Kansas State and Baylor's conference.
Yeah.
And Ohio State still can't win it.
Exactly right. Ohio State and Michigan. Michigan is like 0 for the 2000s against Ohio State. It's probably not true, but it feels like it is. Ohio State is 8-point favorites on the road in the Big House. Does Jim Harbaugh get it done this year? To me, no. I don't think he does. CJ Stroud is red hot. Watch it. I mean, what they did to Michigan State. I think they just scored another touchdown on Michigan State. That was the definition of an ass kicking. Like you look up ass kicking, like from the word go, Michigan State had zero chance in that game. And I think Ohio State's going to be too explosive for Michigan too. I mean, Michigan, yes, they do play well on defense. Yes, they do have a really good run game. And yes, quarterback play as well. I think they do a lot of good things, but they just do not match up well with Ohio State because Ohio State is CJ Stroud. If he's on, it's usually big points, big plays over the top with Garrett Wilson and company. So I'm taking the Buckeyes here.
Yeah, I think we all are.
Yeah, I don't like that nobody's.
Craig Ladd ain't picking them. He picking Michigan.
Yeah, the only team I would take to be that I would take against Ohio State at this point is the Georgia Bulldogs.
Period.
Yeah. There you go. I just finished my cocktail, so we got to hurry this thing up. No. Our last game, which was a really tough pick, like back in September.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much anymore. The Wildcats of the Little Apple come into Austin. Texas is 3-point favorites somehow in this game. I don't know what Vegas is thinking on this, but Skylar Thompson is. I'm a big fan of his. Do the Horns win this one? Not at all. I think Kansas State is going to win. All they've got to do is just. I mean, even if they don't win, I think they're going to cover. But I don't think they're going to cover. I think they're going to win and cover. So I'm taking the Wildcats here. They're just they're getting like they're slowly building a culture there at Kansas State, and I'm here for it. Chris Kleiman's doing a tremendous job there. Give me the Wildcats.
I'm taking Kansas State, and the reason I put this game on the sheet for us to pick is A, it's Texas, but B, I want Texas to go 0-2 against the state of Kansas. That would be absolutely hilarious to me, and that's beyond a good possibility of this.
Oh yeah,
I think it's happening.
Huh.
Yeah, it's happening.
Yeah.
So they got some work to do in Austin. If they win this game, it'll be because Skylar Thompson got hurt.
Yeah.
That's why. Deuce Vaughn, I think, is going to go off for Kansas State.
Yeah,
So
you might not know this, but Deuce Vaughn is the former son of Ole Miss former assistant Chris Vaughn. Who got a show cause in the last time through over an ACC.
Does everybody in college football have a title, Ole Miss?
That's what it seems like.
Yeah.
And it's because Kiffin's coached everywhere now.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, now we have a tie to the LA Raiders or Oakland Raiders.
Vegas
72-yard field goal.
Vegas Raiders.
No, his ties to the Oakland Raiders. He never coached in Las Vegas.
That's right.
So wait, Jake, you just building up suspension here? What's going on? You haven't made that pick. That's the only one you haven't made.
On my end, I have.
Oh,
There
there
it
he goes.
is.
Okay.
He's doing some research.
No.
Yeah.
He's crunching the numbers.
Yeah.
Just keeping me on the edge of my seat.
Like Candy Crush style. He's crunching the numbers.
No, I was just looking at overall records, and I just picked what you guys picked because I'm in the lead right now. So y'all are the ones that's going to have to make some crazy picks to catch back up. So
Hey, I tied with Corey. I am tied with Corey, who's been in the lead this whole season.
Corey's fallen off the last 3 weeks. So
I know. I've had a rough my worst week that really got the ball rolling. I had a 3-7 week 3 weeks ago.
I had a 2-8 week last week or the week before, and you knuckleheads still couldn't catch up.
That's true. But Steve, when Kentucky and Oklahoma State win, you come see me. So yeah, I think. Well, you know what? That's going to do it for us here at SEC After Dark. Remember to follow us on Twitch, follow us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, like and share. Like us on Facebook as well. Follow our social information at Palmcast. Follow it while you can because it's dying. But check us out there. You can check me out on Believe in Georgia Dogs. We got an episode coming out tomorrow with that. You can also follow me and find me on Beast of the East and the Illegal Motion College Football podcast as well. Obviously, right here on SEC After Dark. The echoing thing is great. You can find the audio versions of the aforementioned shows that I just said wherever you find your podcast. Jake, we can find you at Tide Talk, coming soon to exclusively to the Y'all's Conference Network, and of course Steve, Locked On Ole Miss, and then the greatest pinch hitter of all time for all of the shows here on Y'all's Conference Network, and of course right here you can find the four of us right here at SEC After Dark. This is the flagship show of the Y'all's Conference Network. So get on board. So big things are coming. Big things are coming.
Evangelize this. Share it, like it, retweet it. Let people know that you watch SEC After Dark on this channel. Let it be known. Bring them in.
Yeah. Cody, tell all your friends about it. Tell them all.
I think Cody has hit us up for our Facebook group. We need Luke to do it as well. We need Luke to come to the house.
That's right.
And just evangelize us as well.
Exactly. So Cody, we appreciate you. We appreciate everybody that joins in on the chat. Stacy, we need a good Facebook group following here. That would be awesome. To have our own booster club. Not to steal
Our
from-
Facebook group is up to nearly 400 people.
Nice.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. I'll check that out. So, for Steve, for Jeb, for Jake, I'm Corey. This is SEC After Dark on the Y'all's Conference Network. So long. Have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy your turkey, your dressing, and whatever else you enjoy on Thanksgiving. Enjoy the Egg Bowl and all the games this weekend. And we'll see you back here next week as we get ready for the SEC Championship. Goodbye.